relationship Chico. It's the relationship Chico.
That's what it is, baby.
Go ahead.
It's the relationship cheat code, y'all. Welcome to the relationship cheat code, where we give you the game to stress less and experience your absolute best in your relationship. How you doing, babe?
All the things. I am good. I'm always good when I get to sit next to you because I don't have as many opportunities as I might always like to sit next to you and just get close to you and just center in and just be able to sit back and talk. I mean, we get a good amount.
I'm about to say, what you mean you ain't got enough opportunities?
I would like more.
You would?
Yeah.
We get a lot.
We get a lot, but you know.
You always be wanting me to be around you. I mean, always be wanting me to be around.
Always.
No, you do. I think you said something the other day where you were like, I don't know, I think you wanted me to go to the store with you. And we had already been spending an inordinate amount of time with each other, like working, talking, engaged with each other. And you said, come on, just go to the store with me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, we've been together. And I love being with you. I really do, baby. I really do. I love being with you.
Relationship Chico. All right, let's get into it, y'all. We are going to talk today to you about a dynamic that has definitely existed in our relationship at times. It happens in a lot of people's relationships, and sometimes people kind of get stuck because you don't even know that it's happening. They're not even aware. And so we want to talk about it, break that thing down so that folks can get out of this cat-mouse situation.
Yeah.
Out of this pursue, withdraw, chase, run away kind of dynamic, and it just doesn't serve anybody. And so some of y'all, as soon as I said that, y'all are like, oh yeah, I already know, because I feel like I'm always chasing, or some of y'all like I'm always trying to like back them up off me or back her up off me, right? So let's just talk about that a little bit. I mean, I think one of the things that comes up for me is just our own relationship and how that has been present early on. I mean, I don't really feel like it's like that now. I mean, because we know about it and we do better. But I am a talker.
Yeah, you are.
I want to talk about some things, and I need to talk about them today. And we need to get into it right now. That's generally how I like for things to be. So that's how I used to roll when we had difficulty or conflict in our relationship. And I wanted to get into it. And oftentimes, y'all, I will never forget all of the times that I would bring stuff up to my husband. He would be chilling. He'd be sitting on the couch, just relaxing, doing whatever. He was relaxing. Then I came over there. And then he would like all of a sudden feel inspired to get up and start cleaning, moving from room to room, walking around. I'm like talking to his back, trying to bring up a topic or a situation that I thought we needed to get into. And so this is what we're talking about today in terms of this like pursue, withdraw dynamic. That was one way that it showed up in our relationship, just this whole piece around me trying to get to something and my husband seeming like he was trying to get away from something. And I just feel like too many people get stuck in this dynamic. That's just one example of what it can look like in your relationship.
Yeah, so even before we look at examples, I really do think that it's important for us to examine the core component of what it looks like for an individual to be a cat or for an individual to be a mouse, and why that piece may be present in
a woman who has been married for quite some time. I mean, it's a whole lot of people got a whole lot more years than we do, but we're coming up on an anniversary.
Yes, we are.
In May. We'll be at 22 years in May. But we're 21 years together, 21 years married, 28 years together. And you know, now I feel like time and maturity and all of those things has given me an appreciation for what I bring. And so I am the initiator, not just in conversations, but in a number of things in our relationship and how we live life together. I'm initiating the inquiry. I'm initiating the possibility. I'm initiating the conversation. I'm initiating a shift. But that is a skill set. That's just a part of who I be, like you said. And before I might get mad because I feel like I keep having to bring it up.
Yeah.
And especially if you're resisting, that's where that can get into like a toxic dynamic if that's happening pervasively and persistently over time. But I understand that there are going to be some things that I lead on, and absolutely in terms of initiating stuff, you are going to be there to make sure that once the conversation is open, once we've gotten into some things, you're holding it down, right? Like, and I appreciate that about you, that the things that you hold down and you're focused on and paying attention to, I don't even know what you're doing. I'm like, I love to say, this is a sidebar, I love to say to my husband and to my daughters, and maybe some of y'all be like, why you say that? I don't know anything about that. Like, it could be about anything. My daughter might ask me a question, and my husband might be like, well, why you don't do thus and so? It could be some mundane task or something else.
Yeah.
And I said, because I don't have to. Because I have a husband. I don't have to do that. It's not that I can't. It's just that I don't have to. And I love that. I love that I don't have to pay attention to certain things. So I love that you said it's not bad. And I think a lot of us make these things bad, but it can get into a toxic kind of a repeat negative cycle, a negative communication cycle where there's no progress being made. And I think that's what we really have to make sure we address today too.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's when we look at the whole cat piece, that's one of the things that come to mind for me. But then when we flip it and we take a look at the mouse, the idea or the imagery that comes to mind for me is running away from, maybe even avoiding certain situations. I also get the impression that there's some level of fear that may be present in the dynamic. And so I just want to, I want to reframe. So we're the name of this is, we're focused on this whole the cat and mouse games that people play in relationships. And so we do know that there's pursuers and there's withdrawers and engagers and retreaters in a relationship. But if we think about the mouse, and we reframe their positioning from one of running away to one of taking a step back. And so you have one person leaning in, which may be the cat, and then you have the mouse, which is taking a step back. And there's value in taking a step back. There's value in taking a step back and slowing down and being able to assess the terrain and being able to make the best move and calculated, decision best as possible for whatever the situation may be. And so I'm just saying that for those people who need to take a time out, need to pause, need to take a step back, that in and of itself, just as I did for the cat side, that in and of itself for the mouse side in terms of taking a step back isn't necessarily a bad thing. And so I just wanted to put that reframing in there. Now, if it's done in a way in which you're stonewalling your partner, if it's done in a way in which you don't re-engage the conversation, if it's done in a way in which you take a permanent timeout, then that's when things become problematic, and that's when we introduce toxic elements in a relationship. And if your positioning is one where that's all you do, where you're just only taking a step back and there aren't other ways in which you're actually leading and taking a step forward, then that introduces this dynamic of like, you could be in a negative cycle in your relationship, and it becomes contentious. And that's what we're trying to avoid. And so, one of the common areas that come up, and this happened in our relationship, is around intimacy. I'm typically, we can't even use cat and mouse. I'm like, dog, like
the dog.
Yeah, I'm just like,
ain't no cat about
just
it.
I'm trying to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
And I'm not running away.
No,
Do
however,
you perceive me to run away?
so then in that situation you would be a cat. So I'm the dog chasing the cat.
Shut up.
And and so what I've experienced is that in some situations you may be playing coy. You may be playing
You think so?
A little bit of teasing.
When we in the bed.
Not just when we in the bed, but sometimes, we as a man, we as men, get teased outside of the bedroom and everything is gravy and, is we're believing that it's supposed to be all good, but there's a game, there's a dance, there's an exchange that's taking place, and it's actually foreplay. So it's not a bad thing. But what I would say is that when it comes to the initiation, that's when we're pursuing, and a lot of times women, and I would say you, not even a lot of times for you because you don't do it a lot of times, but women specifically a lot of times are withdrawing because there's so many other things going on that are competing that I'm not present. I'm not here for that in that moment. And so you can chase me all you want to. I'm going to keep running. And the part of the reason why I'm running is because I got to run to all the things.
Right.
And I got to run to all the things and make sure all the things are squared away. And so I just may not have time for that right now. And so, however, sometimes it's flipped. And the women are the ones that are pursuing and initiating when it comes. I mean, you pursue and you initiate. And I'm appreciative of that.
I know you wish I could do it more. I would do it more.
Yeah, I do.
I plan to work on it.
You plan to work on it. You plan to work on it.
I'm getting to it. It's on my list. But look, I want to say this. I think this is important because it just is. We talk about this a lot inside of our community. We talk about this all the time. Half the issues, maybe more than half the issues that couples are dealing with, that you're dealing with in your relationship, can be mitigated, reduced, minimized, or even eliminated if you would just ask this question of yourself and then of your partner. What is the unmet need? What's the unmet need? So this withdraw, pursue kind of dynamic that we said can get really out of hand when it's repetitive, when it's persistent, and somebody feels like they're constantly kind of trying to have this conversation or bring things up, and it's just not being met with any open arms, and somebody feels like they're continuously moving and leaving and moving away and that kind of thing. That dynamic, that cyclical kind of dynamic that can happen, can start to be unhealthy. But one of the ways you can disrupt that is just by asking yourself, what is my partner's unmet need? Because a lot of times that dynamic continues on because you haven't met a need. And an unmet need in the context of relationships and this emotional work that we do is really an emotion. It's a feeling. Yeah. Not like, that she want me to take the trash out. I mean, that might be helpful. But what is the unmet need? Is it that your partner, your husband, right? This can oftentimes be the case for a man, feeling like, I want more intimacy. He may not say it like that. He wants more sex. He wants you to go down and give him a little more head. He wants you to, kind of be more interested in that. And so while that's a dynamic at play in your relationship, you also may, women, kind of know that's just kind of how it is. As women, we just kind of know, like, we know our man wants more a lot of times. This is not all relationships, because that's not always the case. And, we give it up and out when we want to.
Yeah, y'all do.
You know what I mean? And not like, some women are using it in ways that they should not be, using access to sex and all that stuff in a way that you should not be, where you're withholding and that kind of thing. But others of us are not necessarily trying to do that, but we know that we pretty much hold the golden keys to whether it's going down tonight or not. You know what I mean? And so if you know that this dynamic is present where your husband is not feeling, and so he's getting that from you, the attention, the sexual attention, right? Like, you might be rubbing his head and making his plate and doing all the things, but that's not what he wants. Like my husband has said multiple times, like, get to the point, right? What do you say? Hit the bullseye.
Hit the bullseye.
Hit the bullseye. Yeah. Like, don't be all around it. Hit the bullseye. And I roll my eyes, but I know what he's talking about. So if that's happening, that's an unmet need. Hold on, I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay.
That's an unmet need. So what can happen is when we want to have conversation, or we want to, talk about something that we feel is really important, we want to really get into, what are we doing to work on this in our relationship? Or what are we doing with our finances? Or what are we doing with this particular thing? We don't see the connection. We don't connect the dots between, your husband knows that's important, so he's not going to say, I ain't talking about that, but he's less motivated to please you in that way, to be open to having this conversation, because he's not feeling very taken care of. So you want to have a conversation about you all's emotional connection. You want to have a conversation about dating more, spending more time, but he's not feeling as though that piece is being taken care of. So it can create a little cycle. And likewise, vice versa. Your woman, your wife is like, you talking about all this, can I get some? But you know what I mean? We ain't really been on a date in a minute. So I think it's easy for us to like get into these places where we're just focused on our experience. Yeah. And we're focused on what we should be getting or what should be happening or where our partner is coming up short. And I want to just validate for everybody listening right now, you are more than likely 100% right. But the question always is, do you want to be right, or do you want to be in a relationship? And so you can lead by meeting the unmet need of your partner. And when you meet the unmet need of your partner, even though you're like, but they need to meet the unmet need of me. when you do that, you change the trajectory of the relationship. You change the dynamic. You change the energy. There's a little softness that's coming on in there. Yeah. And what I have said for years, my husband has said this as well. We always say it, whoever has the most insight is obligated to use it. If you are aware of this now, you can be mad and say, well, he should be doing it. But if he is not aware and he is not open to being aware and you have the awareness and you made the commitment, then you ought to do what you know. You know better, so do better. Stop being mad and holding on to resentment. So this is, again, taking it back to that pursue, withdraw dynamic. This is how we can break that up by looking at what is an unmet need that is happening in my relationship that I may have never connected the dots to this ongoing feeling like I can't make no progress in this area. Just pause for a second. Stop trying to resolve that conflict and meet the unmet need and see how things start to shift, you know?
Yeah, that was good, baby. Now back to my question.
Damn. What was the question?
Well, it's
you held on. You remember?
Yeah, I
don't even remember because I talked so long after that I can't even remember the question.
Well, I'm gonna go back to an initial point that you made when you said that I'm planning to get into be ready to.
Oh Lord, I didn't say that.
What did you say?
I didn't say I'm planning to getting ready to, but whatever you said.
What did you say?
I said I'm planning on working on that.
I'm planning on working on that. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So why are you?
I'm just being funny.
I know, but I'm just
playful.
Yeah, you're being playful, but
you're like, but there's always something true and real.
Yeah. So because I feel like you lifted up.
We're talking about initiating intimacy.
Yeah, I feel like you lifted up a valid point that a lot of times I think that the men carry the brunt of the responsibility and the weight of initiating intimacy, and a lot of times women will dangle the satisfy me here, meet me here, have a conversation here. Dangle, but sometimes it feels like that.
Do you feel like I dangle?
I don't feel like you do, but based off of me conversing with a gang of men, a number of guys have expressed that they feel like it's transactional. So for those who don't know, my wife and I, we got a community of folks, our Blame Core community, and where we help individuals and couples improve the quality of their life and their relationship. And so we do breakouts, and we have a men's lounge, a sister circle, and so we're interfacing with men and women on a regular basis inside of our community. And one of the things that I know is that one thing that comes up is that it feels like it's transactional. Like if I have this conversation with you, then you become more open and available to me. And sometimes you can flip it and say vice versa. If I give you good loving, then you'll be willing to have a conversation with me. But I do think that men a lot of times carry the weight of that dynamic where there's an expectation that you need to meet me here, man, in order for me to be intimate with you.
To sex?
Yeah, in order for me to be intimate with you. So like women be having the cookie jar tightly sealed and are sometimes looking for a certain benchmark to be met in order to, satisfy him sexually. And so I think that that's a problem. So when you say you're planning.
Why is it a problem?
But I want you to answer my question.
Okay.
When you say you're planning to getting to be ready to.
I give out the cookie.
Yeah, you do. But why is this a thing? Like, why can't you just.
Give it to you.
Yeah.
And initiate.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically initiate, because I do give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
And you did lift up culture.
I mean, I do. I think that I can only speak for me. So I think it's two things. I think it's culture. It's outside of my comfort zone. I've definitely gotten more comfortable over time. But I think culture plays a lot. When I say culture, y'all, I'm talking about like, everything that we're raised to believe, all the stuff we see on the movies, right? That the man, I tell my daughters now, our daughters, like, he did he follow up with you? If he ain't follow up with you, then don't holler back at him. You know what I mean? He needs to come and get you, right? Like that's the dynamic. Like, don't be sitting up here continuously trying to holler at him. No. We're not doing that, right? So that is, and do you disagree with that?
No, I don't.
In terms of a young man like pursuing one of our daughters, right? Like he needs to make his intentions clear. He needs to show up. He needs to.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm just noting. I mean, obviously we're talking about marriage and marital sex, right? Which is a different, thing. But it's all in our culture, you know, that the man pursues the woman, and that you show that you are ready and that you're wanting and all of the things. So it's just, I mean, it's in my DNA. So I know better. I know that as a wife that I need to pursue you. And it's just easier for me to do that in every other way except for sex. And so like I can pursue you by, I'm gonna make you the good food. I'm gonna come over and rub your head. I'm gonna give you a kiss and walk up and give you a hug or tell you how much I appreciate you. But probably the hardest one, and if I be really real, it's not that it's, I mean, is it hard for me? I mean, I feel like early on it was hard. I feel like still now maybe it's kind of hard. But I think the other part that I hadn't said yet in terms of just initiating sex is that I just don't want it as much as you do.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, because I know
that boils
there are
down to our biological
times
makeup as well.
when I want it, but even when I want it, I'm like, I'm putting my booty on you in a certain way, right? That's my way of letting you know, and you be knowing like, oh, I know it's about to go down, but I'm just not desiring it as much as you, so there's even less motivation because I ain't feeling it. I'm feeling you. I want to cuddle and talk your ear off, but I don't necessarily, I'm not thinking about us doing the do. So I think all of that stuff plays a part in it.
And I think that's where it's really important that we give grace. I mean, give grace for nature. And biologically, I have more testosterone than you. And so energetically, specifically when it comes to that, I'm going to be more ready. I'm going to be more ready and be more wanting.
It really turns me on. Just saying. I'm just saying, it really does.
I'm going to be more ready.
You to not be ready or stop being ready.
And be more willing. And your estrogen, I mean, you just don't have the same, quality, not even quality, but the same amount of hormones that I may have and which impacts you.
I don't know if you would even be ready for me if I did. I don't even know. I just don't know if I was matching you. Like there are times when I've in our relationship, y'all, I have tried to, really show up and like pursue Aize and, come get it right. And I kind of, I come with a little, come here, and he be looking at me like.
That's where culture comes into play.
He be looking at me like, all right, man. Like sometimes. I was gonna say it. Sometimes you'll say like, you treat me like a bitch.
Yeah, John. Some of y'all might be able to relate to that. Right?
I was saying, what did I do? What are you talking about? He's like, I'm a dude. Don't do that. And I'm like, I'm trying to like pursue you. So I mean, I just think that's that whole culture piece. Like, I think if I was really coming like you do, I don't think that would be a turn on to you. It might be for a moment, but I think that after a while you'd be like, pipe down.
Yeah, it would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but here's the piece though. Again, I think they're giving grace and making room for just who we are individually and even our biological makeups in terms of whatever hormones we got going on. But then you also have people in different places in their life cycle as well, which plays a factor in terms of readiness in that respect. But we're just talking about intimacy right now. But the cat and mouse exchange, because again, when we speak about intimacy, I'm pursuing you. Sometimes you're pursuing me. It's a cat and mouse exchange that's going on, and we're both assuming different positions depending upon what's happening in our life. But in other ways, we also, do this dance of, cat and mouse, whether it's based off of us having conversations, not wanting to, who does what with the children. Like there's these different variables, finances, there's this back and forth, there's this dance, there's this, and even within yourself, like, sometimes you exert yourself and then sometimes you fall back. And, you take a step back to assess, and sometimes you may even be running away from situations that feel too stressful. So, it's the way we move, y'all. It's the way we move individually and collectively. And I think that, number one, we have to be able to recognize that I'm not always dog. You're not always cat. Like we have different ways in which we show up in different situations, which lead us to a place of, being able to experience the fullness of ourselves. And so it's that masculine and feminine energy. Fundamentally, that's what we're speaking about. And so, again, a lot of times people talk about, I ain't got no feelings. I ain't got no emotions. And I hear a lot of men talking about this. You and your feelings. Yeah, you all up in your feelings. You and your feelings. Why you in your feelings? But what a lot of times people fail to realize is that even expressing anger, even expressing enthusiasm, excitement, joy, when you get hype at the game, those are manifestations of emotions. And so
right.
those are outward expressions of emotions. And so we all be in our feelings at different points. There's nothing wrong with emotion. And what I say to men a lot of times is that if you can't embrace the feminine aspect of self, then you're half of a man. Because in order for you to be a complete person, you got both energies inside of you, both masculine and feminine energies. And so it's polarities that are at play. And again, you may predominantly operate from one space, but to negate and deny one aspect of yourself is to do, a disservice in terms of your relationship with your boo. Like, you can't fully understand her if you don't fully understand the feminine aspect of yourself. And so we got to do more self-exploration as men. And I think that women have to do more self-exploration as women to understand the other piece as well, too. So, that's, and again, it's about the balance.
It's about the balance. And let me just say this. I think that one of the things that happens over time that people don't really recognize when there are these unresolved issues, these things that are just sitting out there, there's this pursue and withdraw cat and mouse situation going on and people are feeling stuck, is that it really erodes trust. You don't have to go out and cheat for trust to be tampered with in the relationship. You don't have to go do an obvious thing like, go buy a car and, not tell your partner or whatever it is, right? Like, you can just not be available. You can just continue to resist the conversation, to resist your partner's attempt to try to connect with you, even if the connection is not soft and but it's just, can we please talk about what we need to talk about? You can continue to do that, and every time you do that, you are eroding the trust, because I cannot rely on you. I cannot look to you as a person in a place that provides any level of safety. We ain't got to be 100%, because ain't nobody 100%. You know what I'm saying? My husband has hurt me. I've hurt him. He's come for me in ways that he didn't know he was coming for me. I've come for him in ways I didn't know I was coming for him. We all are real people. But if you are continuously, persistently, and pervasively unavailable, excuse me, for your partner, woo, to be able to talk to be able to ask questions of, to share. Like, I'm just going to say right now, y'all men out here, y'all need to get over asking a question is somehow out of pocket. If I ask a question, if she asks a question, somehow we are being disrespectful. Somehow we doing the most. We trying to control you. No, how about you just need to create some internal stamina to endure the question. Perhaps you don't know the answer and you need to be able to share. You know what? I don't know the answer, because women, we will bring the illumination. We'll ask questions you never even thought of. You know what I mean? We will light up areas of your brain that have not been on for years. It's been dark in that joint. And then all of a sudden you are now taken aback and offended and feeling like you're trying to be a man. I heard so many people say this, you're trying to like do my job. No. I am your partner, and I am here to not only challenge you, but oftentimes I'm just here just to understand. And the only way I can get to understanding is to ask questions, right? And to share with you where I am. And this whole piece around resisting the asking of questions because it's you doing too much. I do know, I have learned from my husband that I got to pay attention to my timing. Absolutely. I got to pay attention to my energy. Absolutely. I got to pay attention to how I frame the question.
Absolutely.
Right. Oftentimes I just say, like, I am not trying to get in your business. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm not trying to control you, sweetie. I'm not trying to do none of that. Now, to me, in my mind, that's hella ridiculous that I got to do all that.
It's helpful, though.
But I can stay focused on the fact that I think it's ridiculous, or I can just do it because it works. Like, I got to do all of that prepping to ask him a question because he gonna be triggered and be like, what's she doing over here, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I just think that we have to pay attention to the fact that there is work that each person can do, and this whole piece around being stuck and not getting any movement on certain issues, like this whole comfort with just staying in that place, that's eroding trust. Yeah, that's eroding trust. That's funking up the trust. And you are responsible for making sure that your woman is secure, that she feels safe to be able to talk to you, to be able to share with you, to be able to lay her burdens down. I remember being in session, my therapist, my husband and I's therapist early on, we were having issues around finances and me desiring something different than what my husband was doing. And the therapist said to my husband, a woman wants to know, your woman wants to know, will you lay your life down for her? Will you lay your life down? Will you? And what does she mean by that? Will you do anything to secure her, the family, the home from? Will you do anything? So it's not about all the stuff. It's about what you're willing to do and what it says when you are not even open to a conversation or a question. You're messaging way more than you really realize you are. You know?
That should be basic. That should be a basic expectation and requirement in relationship, because so much occurs through the process of conversing with your partner that I mean, it can build up but also tear down walls as well.
That's right.
And so when you refuse to engage, then you're just building up like a wall of resentment, anger. And here's the interesting piece that, we lift up this whole thing about being stuck, but really stuckness is an illusion. Because the reality is that if you ain't doing nothing, you may think that you're stuck, but what's happening is that your relationship is digressing. It's devolving. It's going backwards.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's not that like y'all are just staying, like it's not like a picture, a static image where we're not talking and you capture a still shot of us not talking and it just stays there. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, what happens is that time is elapsing. It's not a static image. Time is elapsing. And in the process of it elapsing, your relationship is eroding unless you do something intentionally to shift it. And so even that cat and mouse piece, when it comes to that, there's activity. Cat and mouse makes you think, chase, withdraw, pursue, disengage. But there's activity, there's busyness. And so even in the midst of you saying that you're stuck, there's still activity that's occurring. Yeah. And y'all are either moving closer toward each other or moving away from each other. And so the choice is really yours.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah, it's never just stagnant. You're just in one spot. I love that. That's good. The last thing I want to say before we close it on out today to give everybody to think about is that if you're the pursuer, right, we say oftentimes that if you're the one who's put some things out on the table and you feel like I'm tired, I keep bringing it up. And I ask people, well, when's the last time you brought it up? It was probably about 3 months ago, but 3 months ago, you need to put it on the table again and again and again. So there is value in that, right? You have to continue to push forward what the important things are to you. It doesn't matter who you are in a relationship. However, some of y'all aren't pursuers. Y'all are just bullies. Some folks are not just pursuers. You like run over your partner with your mouth, with your energy, with your lack of patience, with your inability to make room for processing and digesting. You are emotionally immature, and you don't have any awareness of the fact that if you would just shut the fuck up for a minute, that they would actually lean in. So it's one thing to be a pursuer. It's another thing to be a road rage bully. And you're just coming off, shooting off at the mouth, and you trying to figure out the stuff, and you're not the one, and I need to do this, and we need to make sure that this is taken care of, and you're all over the place. And then you look at the results you're getting in your relationship. Your partner, your husband is shut down, not saying anything, right? You don't have to be pop, pop, pop type of energy, right? You can be very cold or cool and calm and collected energy, but you still are overwhelming even in that way. You can still be really, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of putting down your husband in your words. You can be, really not lifting him up and sending out energy that you are forever disappointed. There's never any kind of positivity coming from you because the issue is always coming forward. So you might be very calm and collected and you're not really a whole lot of rah-rah, but the energy always is that you are dissatisfied and that things are not good, right? And that is a bully. That is someone who's not only just kind of running over someone, your partner in your relationship with all of these needs and expectations, and you don't have any ability to like pull back, but you also are not speaking life. It is your responsibility as a wife to speak life. If you are not speaking life, and I don't want nobody to put in the comments, well, what about a husband? Shouldn't he speak life too? You the main one that need to hear this. That gets on my nerves. Well, what about you? The people who always go to well, what about the other person? You don't want to need to hear it because, of course, there is a yin yang. There's a two sides to it, kind of a thing. But if I'm speaking to you and I say a wife needs to speak life, and you have a problem with that, and you automatically deflect and push it off onto what does he need to do? You are just showing yourself. You're showing that you don't get that, and you nod your head and say, "Absolutely, sis." You go into like, well, what about? Because you ain't doing it. Because you need to grow in that area. Because you need to expand. So pursuers, some of y'all are road ragers. And you're not making space and you're not making room. And you need to pull back, calm down, and learn how to ground yourself so that you can really be the wife or the woman or the person, whomever it is in a relationship that you need to be.
Yeah, and those who are withdrawing or retreating, you need to step it up. Mm-hmm. You need to flip the switch, step it up, recognize what the unmet need is, and in many respects, at different points in time, show a similar energy, match that energy. If your wife or if your man is the one who's constantly trying to engage in conversation, like you need to make a decision that if you value the relationship and if you value even outside of the relationship, your own personal growth, then challenge yourself to step up in a similar fashion to initiate the conversation, right, to initiate the intimacy, to pursue them and meet them on their grounds. They just want to know that you value them and you respect them and that you want to be with them. And so again, you can demonstrate that to them by moving toward them, engaging with them, and seeking them out. Like a lot of times people are just getting real comfortable with the idea that you come to me, I'm going to be me. I'm an old dogs don't learn new tricks. Man, we need to kill that. We need to dead that. You need to step it up, move in a different way. And I get the whole piece around taking a time out and pause. And yeah, I encourage everybody to do that. And at the same time too, don't be making it a permanent time out. You know, make it a 30-second time out, not a 2-year time out. It's your responsibility to assess what's going on in the relationship, to hear what your man or woman is saying, and then be intentional about going towards them, engaging with them, pursuing them, and being with them in a relationship.
Did you say a 30-second timeout?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They can have longer than 30 seconds.
No, I'm saying.
I'm listening wait a minute, 30 seconds.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that
gather yourself 30 seconds.
Yeah, so
I mean 30 minutes.
I'm saying you can gather yourself.
A day.
You can gather yourself, but a lot of times what people are doing is taking these extensive 2-year timeouts, and that's problematic, y'all. And so again, lean into the relationship. Yeah. Come outside of your comfort zone. This is for the people that are retreating constantly and withdrawing. Do something different. Shake it up. Show them that you want to be with them. Show them that you want something different, and show yourself an opportunity to grow and to become a better person just by engaging in a way that you're not used to engaging.
I just love this because my baby was a master withdrawer. And you just dropped game. Because you don't do that no more. I love you, boo.
I love you too, babe.
Okay, everybody. This has been another episode of the Relationship Cheat Code. We hope you got something from it.